All right. Welcome into another edition of me doing post games at my house because I haven't settled on a name yet. And I like just whatever pops into my mind when I'm starting to stream. That's what the name of the show is that day. You see, I've got like a little bit of a new set ish, kind of. I want to make it more Celtics centric for when I do the Celtics post games. So it's like I love having my Red Sox stuff too and my Oregon Duck stuff up, but I figure I'm going to be doing a few shows from here. So why not when Celtics post game make it more Celtic-y? So I got my '08 champions poster behind me. You can't really see it that well. I gotta I just am not good spatially, so I gotta figure out how to make it all work spatially. But the way I built this behind me is like I can take things off, put them back. So that's neither here nor there. That's just me noticing something on my screen and immediately being drawn to it like a fly or a moth to a flame. But that's not why you're here. You're here for post game reaction to the Celtics versus the Jazz. Another loss, another one in the L column for your C's. And I actually thought the Celtics played pretty damn well this game. I know it seems weird to say from me, who is complaining about the team all year long, especially when they lose, but they played the team that has the best record in the league. The Jazz may not be the best team in the league, but they do best record, and they're really, really well coached, and they're reasonably deep. And they have two All-Star players, three actually, because Mike Conley did get in there, so technically three. Uh, and ultimately what it came down to is the Jazz at the end of the game were able to execute and pull away, and the Celtics weren't. And that's why the result is what it is, with the Celtics getting a loss and the Jazz getting the win. Because really, I don't think either team played exceptional basketball, but I don't think either team played poorly too. And the Celtics, they got a bum whistle. The refereeing wasn't good tonight. The officiating, I should say. But when is it ever really good? You know what? I think that the Celtics, where they ran into trouble, were a couple of ways. One, their rotations still suck. I've been saying that since day one. Brad Stevens, I swear to God, is trying to get fired with some of these rotations and get that Indiana Hoosiers coaching job, because Jeff Teague going in ahead of Peyton Pritchard, neither one was effective tonight, but that makes no sense. Just putting Semi Ojeleye in the starting lineup because Tristan Thompson couldn't play tonight due to health and safety protocols. That makes no sense, and that one backfired terribly. Ojeleye gave them absolutely nothing tonight. Grant Williams plays some nights, 20 minutes. Next night, he won't play at all. That makes no sense. Rob Williams continues to play well, continues to come off the bench instead of starting. The one thing I'll say about Rob Williams tonight is I love the final five the Celtics went with to close the game out, even though they lost. Smart, Kemba, Tatum, Brown, Rob. That's your best five. And that's how they should start and end games as far as I'm concerned. But the rotations, again, they don't make sense to me. So that's one of the reasons I feel like the Celtics dropped this game. Another is they had a couple of not long stretches, which is otherwise it would have been a blowout game, but short periods of time where they were just so flat defensively, and Utah was able to get exactly what they wanted. There was a sequence, I think it was around the start of the third quarter, it was either the start of the third or the start of the fourth, and it was uncontested made three from Jordan Clarkson, top of the key. The next possession was a wide open look from George Niang on the corner, which is where he's best at shooting threes. And then the third possession was a Rudy Gobert sauntering down the lane and getting a dunk. So that's 8 points right there that the Celtics just, without any sort of contest, allowed Utah to get. And you'd see similar sort of stretches, whether it be, 6-point swing, a 5-point swing, or something where Utah got too easy a look. And I remember when the Celtics played Utah earlier in the season, it's almost like they didn't read the scouting report on who likes to shoot threes from where. And you saw to start this game too, you saw a lot of Jazz players just sort of getting their looks in their spots without the Celtics really trying to impede them at all. And so there were too many short little runs by the Jazz where the Celtics either were being careless or just not knowing the players' tendencies on the Jazz, and led to easy buckets for Utah. I mean, they're the best three-point shooting team in the league, and you let them take too many wide open threes, especially from guys like Ingles and Yang from the corners, which is where they thrive off of. You have to take those away. You can't let them get wide open looks from there. And the same goes for the end of the game too. Donovan Mitchell, that's where he sort of thrives, is at the end of the game. And you let him be just one-on-one covered. And Marcus Smart's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, but good offense always beats good defense. And you can't leave a player like that at that point in the game single covered. So, a few reasons here and there why the Celtics lost the game, because it was a close game against a really good team. But I think the overall point is the Celtics just aren't good enough. They're not on that level of a Utah Jazz. They're not on that level of a Brooklyn Nets, as we saw the other night. So while they played what I thought was a pretty good game tonight, they're still not able to beat a team like Utah because they don't have the talent to beat a team like Utah, or they don't have the coaching to beat a team like Utah. They just don't go deep enough. I'll take Tatum and Brown all day over Don and Kemba too, over Mitchell, Gobert, and Conley. But you see that the cohesion works better on Utah, and when they go deeper into their bench, they get a lot more impactful players. And Quinn Snyder's a better coach than Brad Stevens. So that's really what made the difference in this game. It's not anything that the Celtics necessarily did terribly wrong. It's just that the makeup of the team, which is on Danny Ainge, and the way that the roster is used, which is on Brad Stevens, it's not good enough, and it's not going to be good enough without changes. So let's get into the box score before we get out of here, because it is a game recap. On the Celtics side, the leading scorer in the whole game was Jason Tatum, who was outstanding. I thought he was 12 of 24 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3, 6 points, 3 steals, 3 assists, 29 points. I thought he was also really aggressive defensively, which is nice to see from Tatum, because when he plays good defense, it leads to good offense for him. He did miss a key free throw and then a key putback off of that free throw late in the game. But otherwise, I thought he was tremendous tonight. Daniel Tice played a really nice game for himself. They were using him as a pick and pop sort of player, keeping Rudy Gobert. They know he's going to stay down low in the paint to try to block shots. Tice has a nice little 15, 17 footer. He kept hitting that. So he finished with a double-double. 15 points, 6 assists, 11 rebounds, 7 of 13 from the floor. I thought he played very well. Jaylen Brown, 28 points, 7 assists, 2 steals, 5 rebounds. I thought he had a really nice game too. 12 of 21 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3. Very, very solid, good overall game from Jaylen Brown. Kemba Walker gave you 16 points, but just 2 of 7 from 3. 7 of 16 from the floor is not too bad. 5 assists from Kemba. And then your other starter, as I mentioned earlier, was Semi Ojeleye. That made absolutely no sense. He hasn't even played consistently. He gets 19 minutes in the start, comes up with 0 points and 2 rebounds, 2 turnovers, and a foul. So nothing productive from Semi Ojeleye there. On the bench, you had Grant Williams play 17 minutes. He gave you very little, 1 of 3 from the floor, 2 points. He did have 2 blocks. Rob Williams played a really, really good game. No surprise there. 22 minutes for Rob, 7 of 10 from the floor, which is an off shooting night for him. 70%. Go look at the numbers. That's a bad shooting night for Rob Williams. That's how efficient he's been when he puts up shots. He had 14 points, 2 blocks, and 9 rebounds off the bench. Jeff Teague played 10 minutes for some unknown reason. No points for him. 2 assists, 3 boards. Marcus Smart had a rough game for himself. 25 minutes, 2 of 10 from the floor, 1 of 6 from 3, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 5 points. He missed 2 big threes late. The second one he took late was one of those that you go, why on earth are you taking that? So I love Marcus Smart. He's my guy, but not a great game from him, and some really poor shot selection towards the end of it for Marcus. And Peyton Pritchard, only 12 minutes, didn't even attempt a shot tonight. No points, obviously, when you don't attempt a shot, unless you get to the free throw line, which he didn't. 1 assist. He was a non-factor. I'm sure he's confused about his role as Brad Stevens keeps jerking him around and seems to sometimes prefer Teague over him, which doesn't really make sense. So the only person who really gave you much of an impact, especially offensively off the bench tonight, was Rob Williams. And then you go look at the bench of the Jazz, which is fantastic. You had Clarkson give you 20, and you had Ingles give you 14 off the bench. And that's really the difference in the game, is that, the Jazz's bench came in and did work, and the Celtics bench didn't do anything outside of Rob Williams. And then you had, Donovan Mitchell put in his 21. Gobert had a double-double and 4 blocks. And that's your ball game, 117 to 109. The Celtics gave up 40 points in that fourth quarter. Not a great defensive effort, obviously, there. as the Celtics, especially in the second half of games, really, really struggle defensively. So looking forward to what the Celtics got, because they got a busy, busy ass schedule coming up, which means I have a busy schedule doing all these post games. It's so much work. I'm just kidding. It's really, really easy, and I like doing it. Wednesday, which is today's Tuesday, right? Yeah, I voted today. Wednesday is tomorrow, which is at Cleveland. Then you get Sacramento on Friday, Orlando Sunday, and then a very busy next week with Memphis, Milwaukee twice, Oklahoma City. So I will be back tomorrow for that Cavs game, a game the Celtics certainly should win. But now you got to be looking at each game and being like, in terms of seeding, the Celtics have to beat these teams like Cleveland and Sacramento coming up, because you've proven you're not good enough to go toe to toe with the best teams in the East. So the teams that you're clearly better than, you got to take care of business and beat them. So we'll see what the Celtics look like. Cleveland is not the pushover they've been in past seasons. Colin Sexton has given the Celtics work, and they'll have to try to slow him down. So an important, not really. I don't know why I'm trying to say important, but at least we'll see what the Celtics are made of if they can come off of a loss like this, knowing that, hey, we're not really competing for a championship this year. We're not good enough. Do they have the mental fortitude to say, let's take care of business against a team we're superior than? Because they know they're not superior against teams like Brooklyn or Utah, but they're definitely better than Cleveland. So we'll see if they can prove it or not. That's all I got to say tonight. Again, with these things, I like how I say, and that's all I'm going to say, and then keep going. But last thought. With games like this, when you play good teams and you really don't play that bad and you still lose, and you realize this is what the Celtics are. They're okay. They're solid. They're middle of the road. They don't have the firepower to take care of a good team in a playoff series and to oust them. It's kind of like it really puts a damper on the whole season, because you're almost directionless, right? Like, you're not getting a lottery pick because you're not nearly bad enough for that, but you're not competing for a title. But then you see the banners that are, since the fans have not been there, or at every Celtics game, you see them behind the basket and you go, well, this team has 17 titles and the Lakers just got their 17th. They might win an 18th. So, and the Celtics is almost, it's like a directionless team. Why are they in this situation? And I think a lot of it has to do with the roster makeup, Danny Ainge coaching, Brad Stevens, and Danny Ainge has at least a chance to get some redemption if he makes a move at the trading deadline. But I know he's tempering expectations for that. At least we had the Patriots making interesting moves. So be back tomorrow against the Cavs. Remember to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment. I always comment back. Make sure to do that. I appreciate all the comments, even if you don't like what I have to say or disagree. I like that just as much. So, comment to your heart's desire. Tell everybody about the show if you like it. I really appreciate everybody watching and comments and thumbs up. I even appreciate the people who don't thumbs up or comment, because just like, I think you should, but watching it's good enough for me. That makes me happy too. All right, everybody, I'll see you tomorrow. And let's see what the Celtics got in them against the very exciting Cleveland Cavaliers. See you, everybody.